I got on, I was ill,
Yeah.
and they needed to process the whole thing ASAP. And during that period, I was completely flat out. So I
Right.
could not
Okay.
follow up. By the time I was done, they said they've already given it to another lawyer and it's all gone. Right.
Right.
So I might not be able to say, oh, if I would defend a murderer or not, but I think to every rule there's an exception, right?
Yeah.
What costs, what led to it, right? But maybe if I come across it, I might or might not, depending on the facts of the case.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so as far as if I can just go back to what I said before, so if you actually agree to defend a particular criminal who's got a past record, and you ultimately, on talking to him, you decide in your mind this person is probably guilty, would you still be able to put up a reasonable defense for him? Because I guess everybody is entitled to a defense lawyer.
Well, if I know the person is actually guilty, right? I've had cases whereby the persons were guilty. Like in Nigeria, for instance, now I know in some places outside Nigeria they endorse marijuana, right? But in Nigeria, they don't see marijuana weed, right, as a healthy product, byproduct. It's a crime in Nigeria, and I've defended persons who were trafficking marijuana, right? And they were guilty, not one, not two, like over 100 of them I have defended. And I knew they were actually guilty. They told me that,
Right.
Auntie lawyer, oh, I'm sorry, oh, I carried it too. They caught me with it too. But my mother and my father are aged, they are hungry. I did not have anything to do. You get a hand. So what I do in such cases is, well, make an arrangement with either the prosecutor or the court that, okay, my client is guilty. We're accepting the guilt in that situation, but we want to reach an agreement. We want to reach because we're saving the court's time, the court's process, because the back and forth takes money, and the prosecutor is a government worker, and you're taking government resources. So if now I want you to make it easy, instead of pleading not guilty and going back and forth trying to prove and bring evidences against my client, I make it easy for you. Okay, my client is guilty, we accept, but what are the terms? Can he get a lesser judgment instead of getting the 8 years, the 10 years imprisonment? Can he just do 6 months with community service? Or can he get a fine? Can he get 3 months? Can he get a year? And a lot of them have actually gotten 8 months with such plea. They call it the plea bargain. In
Yeah.
Nigeria, we call it the plea bargain.
plea
So you guys have
bargain,
something like that as well, because it's your system we inherited. Yeah. So we have plea bargain sections, and most times it's amiable, sometimes it's not, but then here we are. So I've defended quite a bunch of them.
Wow. So you must really have faith in the judicial system then to then be able to work with it. I know it sounds a bit political, but it's just
No, sweetheart, why was even opening my mouth, and like, it's not like I trust the judicial system.
right. Okay.
But there are some persons who are faithful and keep to agreements.
Right.
Some of these judges, some of these prosecutors, when we enter into an agreement, they keep to it. But some don't. Out of like over 300, 500 cases I've handled,
Yeah.
I have one that the judge said, no, the 21-year-old boy needs to go to prison and go and pay for his sins and a whole bunch of that. But we came with a plea bargain, which is supposed to pay a fine of 100,000 or 150,000, right? And he's saying he's repentant. He was not up to 21, he was just 20.
Right.
We pleaded with the judge. The judge said, no, I'm high and mighty. You have a problem, then you go and appeal. There are some like that. Yes, we met some like that as well. So the system is not all running perfect, but then some of them try.
Yeah.
Is the system trial by jury, as in Britain?
No, we don't have
you
jury
have
system. We wish
do?
we did. We don't.
Oh, right. You don't.
The judge is the all and all. Just provide all your evidence and facts. Then the judge
Right.
gets to decide.
Wow. That's
Crazy, right?
That's interesting. Interesting, yeah.
If
well,
there's a
yeah.
jury, I
Well,
need to have. I'm sure it's because there was a jury system in US. That is why O.J. Simpson got away with murder.
He
yeah,
did
Because if it's
seem
in
to get away
Nigeria,
with it. Yeah, he
yeah,
did
he
get
wouldn't
away
get
with
away
it,
with it.
didn't he?
yeah.
And
Yeah,
of course, he
Did.
has a good lawyer as well. Of course, O.J. Simpson had a very good lawyer, an amazing lawyer.
yeah.
But then I'm sure it's because of the jury system. Because this jury system it's a switch system. Because when one jury is against the whole other jury, there is a benefit of reasonable doubt cast on it already automatically.
Mm.
But in Nigeria, it's just the judge. So there's no hope of one person will be on my side, or one person might like my story, or my lawyer might convince someone that to tick something that something is not right there. You get. So it's either here is your evidences and the judge and a
Oh,
very sound lawyer.
wow. Trevor, we won't be going to Nigeria to commit anything of this.
I certainly won't. Do you find you use your Christian faith, Phantom, in your dealings? I'm sure you do, in your dealings with your clients.
Sorry, I didn't get that question.
Okay, I wondered how your Christian faith as a
Yeah,
Jehovah's Witness, how that
yeah.
benefits your role as a lawyer. Do you find it comes into how you approach your clients?
Mm, well, kind of. I think also the fact that I grew up with a liberal parent. I grew up with liberal parents. So my parents were not the extreme, like, oh, like I have friends whose parents are Jehovah's Witnesses, but they're on the extreme side. They are the like, no, my child cannot be a lawyer and be defending a criminal, that kind of thing. But then my dad is a lawyer, and my dad is a liberal thinker. He was not a Jehovah's Witness. My mom was a Jehovah's Witness in the house. So we grew up with mom and grandma. But dad was a lawyer. Dad was an atheist. But then because of us, he became a Jehovah's Witness. Like, oh, my
Right.
kids are impressive. They're not like the conventional Nigerian kids that all their heads are everywhere and they're all crazy. So you're like, my wife is a good woman and my kids grew up real good. So what prevents me from becoming a Jehovah's Witness? But before then, he was a liberal person. So he's like, you don't have to be dogmatic about your views. Listen to other people's views, accept it, create a balance. So when I'm putting my Jehovah's Witness side and my law practice side, I try to balance it. So there's a balance. So there's no like, oh, what would my conscience feel, or what would God feel at this point?
Right.
What would Jesus do? So I tend to create a balance. Like, okay, is it a case of that's why I said that I make exceptions to the cases I take, right?
You've been watching the Alien Spaceship with myself, Emmy Hikins, and
Me, Trevor Gear.
our lovely guest.
Phantom.
Yeah. So it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from
Goodbye from me.
and it's goodbye from
Goodbye from me.
Bye.
right. So